Ah yes, the Sony PlayStation. A pioneer in performance, a leader in exclusive titles, and quite frankly, a monster of a brand. PlayStation has delivered to the advertising cinematic universe a variety of weird and absurd characters, including the most unforgettable VP of PlayStation advertising, Kevin Butler. And with the PS5 set to release in November of 2020, we're going to look at PlayStation's past advertising campaigns and guess on how Sony is going to market its newest console. But first, let me take you all the way back to the beginning. Sony PlayStation 1 was introduced in North America in 1995. Their first campaign was created by an advertising agency in Los Angeles named by initials TBWA. The first spot was a mashup of different games ending with the cryptic tagline, "You are not E." The red E symbolizes that gamers weren't ready to move on from the 2D scrollers that dominated the other systems. Then the N64 arrived on scene, and at this point in the console wars, the advertising was all about the titles. Sony started creating popular IPs like Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, and Sweet Tooth, who all became reoccurring characters in their upcoming ad campaigns. But Sony realized it wasn't kids spending hundreds of dollars buying the consoles, so the TBWA office in London, England came up with an ad titled Double Life. The 60-second long spot shows 19 PlayStation players discussing their gaming experience with the console in a poetic way, and in 1999 the spot ended up being the most highly awarded ad campaign in the world. But the market didn't seem to respond in the same way, because Sony quickly reverted back to their goofy style of advertising at the end of the PS1's life, and kept it rolling with the launch of the PS2. But let's head back to the Los Angeles arm of TBWA. Their first commercial release for the PS2 wasn't even for the console, it was for the PS9 set to be released in 2078. Sony, wanting a reputation as the most immersive console, boasted future specs like retinal identification and holographic display, showing that the PS2 was the beginning of the future Sony was dreaming up. While these specs obviously aren't on the PS2, it's not a far cry from the PSVR that we have today. This strategy, along with the strength Sony was building with the PS1, gave the PS2 the biggest gaming launch day in history, selling over 500,000 consoles, a number that took the PS1 4 months to achieve. Following the success of the PS2 launch, Sony went back to TBWA London for suggestions on how to promote the console. The agency pitched an ad directed by American filmmaker David Lynch, best known for mind-bending TV shows like Twin Peaks, and movies like Eraserhead and Elephant Man. Yeah. The ad is a full-minute black and white trip through a place that defied all the rules. This also debuted the first tagline for the console,
PlayStation 2! The third place!
but there's only so much David Lynch you can take before you start to feel insane, so over time, Sony's ad campaign shifted again to focus on gaming franchises for the rest of the PS2's very successful life, helping it become the best-selling console of all time.
PSP, huh?
Yeah.
Sweet!
The Sony PSP was released in 2005, and the launch of the handheld console was met with a new series of ads. While TBWA London was busy churning out more Lynchian ads, the PSP project got sent back to LA. The agency created a series of ads where two strangers are seated on a long flight together, while the passenger without a PSP is annoyingly giving tips and tricks on how to play. The commercials are so iconic, I still find myself saying things like,
Sweet!
Predictable.
Cluster bombs! Cluster bomb! Ugh.
Dude, get your own.
However, the launch of the PS3 will forever be remembered as Sony's biggest flop in marketing. They just developed the greatest selling console in history, so how wasn't Sony ready to take the gaming world by force? Well, by the time the PS3 was ready to launch, Sony had fallen behind the latest console race by a full year. Microsoft's second attempt, the Xbox 360, was conquering the gaming market, and Sony seemed unprepared. Sony then released a teaser commercial to show us why the PS3 was the console worth waiting for. The spot symbolizes the eager feeling most of us got as kids before a new console came out. Sony realized that for a great number of young gamers, a PlayStation was probably the first console to ever give them this feeling. This was all very promising. Was Sony finally starting to understand how to appeal to its fan base? Well, apparently not, because with 16 million viewers watching Game 4 of the 2006 World Series of Baseball, and most gaming fans had not even seen the PS3 yet, Sony decided to debut their new generation console with this. See, Sony really couldn't afford to flop this bad with their console debuting at $600, but they did. And even though the crying baby was created by TBWA, it just seems it couldn't capture the magic of the third place David Lynch ads. The console was widely mocked online, killing Sony's momentum instantly. It's safe to say that the Xbox 360 continued to reign supreme. Learning from their mistakes, Sony released a series of ads focusing on the key console features instead. Going back to their roots, the PS3 wanted to market itself as the most powerful console and boasted new ways to play games. Using the concept of exceeding expectation, Sony kept the tagline, "Play Beyond." Interestingly enough, the tagline hints back at the original PS1 launch with a play on the Red E campaign from 1995. Heading into 2008, TBWA Los Angeles created a new set of commercials dubbed the Universe of Entertainment. This turned the console into a war machine, with clips of PS3 games and Blu-ray movies being played over top. These commercials really hammered home the full capability of their new console. But this apparently didn't pay off for TBWA LA or London, because after 13 years, during the holiday season of 2008, Sony launched a new campaign created by an entirely different agency named Deutsch. No, not based in Holland, but based in New York City. Their campaign, called Entertainment Unleashed, focused on the PlayStation Network's ability to download movies to the PSP, as well as the PS3's exclusive games. But they quickly moved on from this, because in 2009, Deutsch had hit the jackpot for Sony. For the launch of MLB 09 The Show, a commercial was created titled Dear PlayStation. The spot stars 2008's American League MVP Dustin Pedroia debating his virtual batting ability with the fictional director of game accuracy, Kevin Butler, who's played by an actor named Jerry Lambert. They feature minimal gameplay, no fourth wall breaking games, and no Lynchian time warps. Just two guys, a couple of deadpan jokes, and the game playing in the background. These humorous commercials exploded in popularity and were such a hit that Sony kept the format and promoted Kevin with many different titles along the way. Wow, that's a lot. As Kevin Butler took center stage for the campaigns at Deutsch, they generated a new tagline, "It only does everything." The fictional VP was so popular, he was even brought on stage at Sony's 2010 E3 press conference. It seemed that Sony was finally taking their marketing seriously. But Kevin Butler wasn't free of controversy. Sometime in 2010, along with the price drop of the PS3 Slim, a commercial ran where internet rumor monger asked Kevin Butler to confirm or deny that the PS3 is going to be $299. The spot features this joke in it.
$299? Bernie, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. Otherwise, I'd be a Nigerian millionaire by now.
Which actually prompted the Nigerian government to demand an apology from Sony for an unwarranted attack on the reputation and image of the country. Sony apologized and quickly updated the spot with this.
Bernie, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. That's how World War I got started.
Which I personally like better anyways. But in 2011, claims that Anonymous had hacked PSN took a huge hit on Sony's reputation. With the fear of being rejected once again by its core audience, Sony spent 5 months working with Deutsch and 15 outside publishers to create one of the most insane video game commercials for its time. A poetic thank you to the fans was a brilliant move by Sony and brought in the newest tagline, "Long Live Play." While Sony moved away from the Dear PlayStation line, Kevin Butler had become the face of the brand and remained prominently featured in the new Long Live Play campaign. But by the end of 2011, Kevin Butler was getting less screen time, only being seen on Sony's social media pages and being relegated to hosting Deutsch's case study video at the Cannes Advertising Award Show. The once fictional vice president had officially been pushed into the background. That is, until Jerry Lambert appeared in an advertisement for an entirely different brand. This advertisement for Bridgestone ran a promotion giving away a gift card or a Nintendo Wii. While Lambert's character is not the focus of the spot, and the commercial is not even for a Wii, it ends with what looks like Kevin Butler celebrating a win in Mario Kart. This prompted PlayStation to sue the actor in Bridgestone for allegedly using the Kevin Butler character in an ad. But Sony and Lambert settled out of court, with the actor agreeing not to appear in any advertisement that featured a video game or a console for at least 2 years. This is the last time we ever saw the God Among Mortals. We miss you, KB. For the launch of the PS4 in 2013, Sony went back to London, England, skipping TBWA and signing with a small agency by the name of Drum. Drum won the pitch with a 3-minute online short film titled For the Players since 1995. The spot is an absolutely beautiful story and paints a picture between how a group of friends would look during the different life cycles of all the PlayStation consoles, culminating in this new futuristic age, the PS4. It's a very intricate spot where every generation is filmed in one take, and it's hard to imagine the time that it took to get this right. I'll link the behind the scenes in the description below if you want to see how the whole ad was created, and more of the Easter eggs. But even with the success of this campaign, this is the only commercial Drum ever gets to produce for PlayStation. Despite the popularity of the Entertainment Unleashed and Kevin Butler ads, Sony never returned to Deutsch. Perhaps burned by one controversy too many, the closest Deutsch ever got to Sony again was a Taco Bell ad that promoted the PS4. In an interesting move, Sony moved across town in New York City to an agency named by initials BBH, who actually created those really weird original Xbox ads back in 2003. BBH launched a new campaign, but it wasn't weird. The commercial uses cinematic shots of real people putting themselves in different video game worlds, capping it off with the tagline, "Greatness awaits." Sony then stopped promoting the console itself and started putting the individual games front and center. The focus on exclusive games is what helped push the PS4 over the Xbox One, because if they could keep touting exclusive titles, or at least exclusive perks to games on both systems, that consumers would pick the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One. Not long after the Greatness Awaits campaign launched, Sony got their feet itchy again and moved their advertising back to London, and for the rest of the PS4's life, used an agency by the name of adam&eveDDB. DDB London has made all of Sony's most recent campaigns, which, wouldn't you know it, has gone all the way back to putting the iconic PlayStation Universe characters front and center again, ending it with telling us that it's time to play. And on June 11th, 2020, PlayStation hosted a Futura gaming event that debuted the PS5, with a subtle callback to that PS9 commercial from TBWA. Sony is telling us that they're always looking towards the future, and with a new tagline of "Play has no limits," the future is going to be all about gaming. So that's it. Whether you're a Sony diehard or not, you have to appreciate the effect Sony has had on the way gaming consoles are marketed. I could be wrong, but I'm willing to bet we don't even get a commercial for the PS5 itself. I feel like the days of weird, wacky, and even charming advertising for the actual console are gone, and we're going to see more of a focus on the games that bring us together. But who knows, maybe they'll resurrect Kevin Butler. Please God, let it be Kevin Butler.
I love you too.